Okay, so this semester we have Introduction to Sociology. Gabriel, what year of the semester of the education you are? First year, second year, third year,
Um,
fourth year?
it's my first
First
it's
year?
my second class. Yeah, my first class
Uh,
was yesterday.
and what courses have you passed in the last semester?
No, this is my first.
First semester.
Yeah.
Oh, welcome to Calum U.
What?
Welcome to Calum U. Welcome to
Oh,
university.
thank you.
Which state are you at?
I'm in San Diego, California.
San Diego, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let me check the other names of the students to see how many students are on live. And here it is. No rules, hybrid. Okay, hybrid. Okay, that's good. So we want to start introduction to sociology. At first, I have a question. As a DBA student, why you should know, or as a business student, why you should know about sociology? What is the importance of sociology?
It helps us understand our own behavior and the people that we interact with's behavior and reasoning for doing things,
Mm-hmm.
thinking things.
Gabriel, how do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think that's it. To understand how people behave and why they behave like that.
In psychology, we have a major field, so-called social psychology. Do you know what is the difference between social psychology and sociology?
No,
Have you heard about social psychology?
no.
Uh, what is the difference between psychology and sociology? A major
Psychology
basic
and
question. Yeah.
sociology.
What is the difference between psychology and sociology?
Um, I would say psychology is how the person acts as an individual, like when he's by himself,
Mm-hmm.
and sociology is how he acts in a group.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm like taking a shot.
yeah. Courtney, how do you think? Differences between psychology and sociology?
I think psychology is more of study of the mind and
Study of the mind.
how
Yeah.
the mind works.
Only mind, not about the behaviors.
It is, but I think it focuses on more of
The
it's
most
about it's about
the
both.
most the most formal and scientific definition of psychology is the scientific study of mental, yeah, of behaviors and mind.
And isn't it psychology is more focused on like an individual person,
Yes.
and sociology is more of like the whole, like the group society, sociology society.
And sociology, we will read it just now. Sociology is considering society as an individual. All, all the members of a society, of the community, of the group, or an organization as one single individual. And the people, individual inside the society are considered as organs in your body. Organs in your body shape your body and your personality, and individuals shape the society. So let's go to the definition of your book. Question for you. Do you ever just like to watch people? Can we ever ask the perfect question on a survey? How can we get information from people while protecting their privacy at the same time? because now we are going to know about the research method in humanities, especially in sociology. Chapter outlines are putting social life into perspective and why should you study sociology and the development of sociological thinking, development of modern sociology, contemporary theoretical perspectives, the sociological research process, research method, and ethical issues in sociological research. And these are the learning objectives of the book. One of the first subjects were studies in sociology was suicide. Why? Why one of the first things in sociology was studied scientifically was the subject of suicide? Is suicide an individual action or no?
Mhm.
Yes, it is an individual.
Yeah.
Sometimes you are talking about genocide. Genocide is in killing a lot of people by other people. For example, Nazis in Germany during World War II, they have a Jewish genocide,
Mhm.
killing a lot of Jewish people. But suicide is an individual action. Why? How do you think about the suicide, for example, as a sociological problem?
Um, because it is like an act that you take by yourself, but it isn't. You get influenced by things that happen around you.
Yeah.
So society can influence you directly in your
Hmm.
decisions, and that's not only for suicide, for all your decisions that happens in your life. And
And what about homicide? Homicide has been killing other people one by one.
mhm.
Homicide is an individual action, individual behavior, or no?
It
If
is.
I
It,
if
it
I
is a
kill
decision you
you, it
make.
is a sociological problem or psychological problem. If I kill, for example, two people,
Um, that's a trick question. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
um,
Because of that, you have such courses like Introduction to Psychology. I think
mhm,
the next semester I will teach in CalMU Introduction to Psychology and also Introduction to Sociology. You
mhm,
want to be a businessman or businesswoman, but in the modern life, you should know about the trends of thinking. Especially after that, you should go to the cyber environment. It is very important to know about the cyber environment, internet environment, and cyber psychology, and cyber also social. For example, here in the PowerPoint, you see the trends of cyber bullying, online bullying, for provoking suicidal attempts, not committed suicide, suicidal attempts in people. For example, when they say you in the musics, in the songs, they say you should die. Why don't you go kill yourself? Can you die, please? Courtney, you have some people that they are at the gate of teenaging. After 1 to 2 years, we can consider you have a girl also, yes?
My daughter's 8 and my son's 9.
Yeah, for example, for girls and daughters, we consider about 10 to 11 as entering teenage, a little sooner than boys. Boys, it is 12 and 13, sometimes 14. So you can check the internet for them. Why? Because some of the online bullying comments are very effective on the, with high impact on the mind of the teenage people or sometimes children. Why are you alive? About the meaning of life. You are so ugly. Go die. Everyone would be happy. Drink bleach. And you think you want to die, but in reality, you just want to be saved. and other comments. Goodbye forever, my good friends. Goodbye. I regret nothing. I have chosen to go with three people at once and kill myself. Just one. Blah, 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 blah. Have you experienced in yourself in the previous years thinking about suicide, not suicidal attempt, not suicidal, because suicide has three parts. One, suicidal ideation. You are thinking about suicide. After that, the second part is suicidal planning. You are thinking about how to do the suicide. And third part is suicidal attempts. Suicidal attempts is you do the suicide. After it is successful, it is called committed suicide. Committed suicide, you are die, you are dead. And sometimes it is not committed, it is unsuccessful. Research finding shows that old people between the age of 12 and 22, also research finding, old people, when we are talking about old people of that research, of that sample of society, have some trends of suicidal thinking, suicidal ideation, not suicidal attempt, not suicidal planning, only suicidal thinking between age of 12 to 22. Why? Because in this time we are looking for our identity, which is very important. It is the identity crisis. This adolescence crisis is called identity crisis. The major question in identity crisis is, who am I? It's very important question. Who am I? If you cannot find it, you will go to the groups, join to the groups to gain your identity. Because of that, peer groups and gang groups are very important. Religious groups are very important. Now, for example, cyber groups are very important for giving identity to teenagers. Why? They are looking for their identity. And in immigrant, in minorities and other people, you cannot find a good identity in their children. Okay, how do you think? In this course, every session, for every PowerPoint, for every chapter, we have about 8 questions to direct your mind to the major core of that session. Suicide is the number one cause of injury-related death in the United States. It is true or false? How do you think? Number one cause of injury-related death in the United States? True or false?
False.
True.
True? Wow. Catastrophic. It is catastrophic. Number one. There is one suicide for every 25 attempted suicide annually in the United States. One suicide has been committed suicide, successful suicide, dead people. There's one suicide for every 25 attempted suicide annually in the United States. True or false?
True.
True.
Where are you living at? Suicide rates are lower for Native American and Alaskan natives between the age of 15 to 34, for persons in the same age bracket for any other racial ethnic category in the United States. You say false, Courtney?
False.
Gabriel?
Not true.
Perfect students. In grades 9 through 12, significantly more Latino female students report that they have attempted suicide in the last year than African American non-Latin female students or white American non-Hispanic female students.
True.
True. Courtney, how do you think? True or false?
True.
Female complete suicide at a much higher rate than that of males. True or false?
False.
Because a lot of books about 20 years ago say that, psychological book says that the rate of suicidal attempt in females are 4 times of males. Suicidal attempts, not a successful suicide, but the rate of successful suicide, committed suicide in males 2 times. For example, if one instead of one man, 4 women attempt to suicide, but from 4 women, only 1 woman were died, but 2 men from 4 men were died. So suicidal attempts, rate of suicidal attempts were higher in female, but committed suicide was not so successful in male at the rate of that people, for example, male people. Because of that, now we know that the rate of suicidal attempts is not higher in female in contrast with male. Firearms are the most commonly used method of suicide among males and females. True or false? Firearms are the most commonly used method of suicide among males and females. Courtney, you say it is not true. How do you think about the most common system for suicide if it is not firearm?
Overdose
Overdose
I
with
think it's
medication, or overdose with
or
medication or with drugs? Which? Illegal drugs for cocaine, for example, cocaine, or no? With legal medications?
um probably a mixture.
Hmm.
Or I don't know, I just don't think it's the firearms, because to actually people who actually, I know looking way into it, but people who actually know how to handle firearms properly, or like a lot of times they are unsuccessful when they attempt
Yeah.
yeah,
to
I
do
don't think it's firearms either, but I would say jumping or hanging.
hanging. Yeah, hanging.
It is false. Also, we know that illegal drugs, for example, cocaine overdose is the most popular and most common reason and cause for suicide. But sometimes it is not intentional suicide; it is unintentional suicide. You don't want to be dead, but overdose of cocaine, and sometimes it is intentional. So planning for dying of overdoses. Alcohol intoxication is present in nearly 1/4 of all suicide deaths in the United States.
Mm.
Alcohol intoxication in nearly 1/4 of all suicide deaths in the United States. Correct or false?
Oh.
True.
Like meaning that they die from alcohol or
No, is present.
like
They had alcohol in
they
their
It's
system.
like they made the decision because they were drunk.
Yeah,
Like
it's
okay.
it's facilitate of the suicidal attempt,
Got it.
not
Makes
directly to
sense.
the alcohol intoxication.
Yeah.
But after alcohol intoxication is to be drunk. It is easy for you to do other
Mhm.
suicidal planning. It's present,
Yeah,
not in
makes
the
sense.
cause. And the last question, government agencies have developed public health programs to prevent suicidal behavior and now emphasize that promoting individual, family, and community connectedness in an important way to prevent such behavior. Yes. Yeah. Have you seen the movie Joker 2020,
Yeah.
2019?
Mm-hmm.
2019, this is about the public health programs.
Yeah.
And after cutting and after closing the public health programs, and mental illness people will become a killer because of cutting and closing the services. What is sociology? Sociology is the systematic study of human society and social interactions. Why we say systematic? What is the definition of system? What is the definition of system? What is system?
Different parts working together.
Only that? Yes, different parts working together. Why? Only that is system?
No, systematic. Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
systematic working
Systematic,
together
working
to
together,
achieve
yes.
something.
Why they work together?
To make it function properly.
Why
Or
they
to
have a
function.
Why? What is the aim of the function? Last semester, I talked about it with you, I think. You have forgotten it. Yes.
I didn't forget.
For a shared goal.
Shared goal, yes. I
This
just
is
didn't
the
know how to
main, this is the
verbally
main
express
component.
it.
Yes. And interconnectedness, not only working together, they have a range of interconnectedness. Intertwins. Different components work together with a good interconnectedness for achieving a shared goal. It is very important. So system is not about only one component, one element. It is a lot of them. Not working for themselves. They are working together, interconnectedness. The second part is working together. A lot of components working together to achieving a shared goals. Because of this interconnection, if only one component of system doesn't work so well, all system will have some problems. Why? Because of interconnection. And at first, what is the causality? What is the philosophy of shaping a system, of forming a system, achieving a shared goal? So when we are talking about the science, we are always talking about a systematic study. What does it mean, systematic study, systematic investigation, or scientific investigation? We say sociology is the systematic study, or psychology is the scientific study, or systematic study of, for example, behaviors and mental processes. Why systematic? Because we want to check and to find the continuous effect of one component on the other components, one variable on other variables. Because of that, it is called systematic study. What are the functions of science? Do you know? Why do we need science? Science is not technology. Note that science is not technology. Science is before technology. Why do we need science? What are the functions of science? What are the duties of science? They say duty of science and beauty of science. Yes. But what are the duties of science, functions of science? Or a scientific theory? How can we reach technology from science? A basic question, is mathematics a science or not? Gabriela say yes, mathematics is science.
Yes.
Sorry, mathematics is not science.
No?
No, mathematics is the language of science. You have two major components in science. Everything that can be studied scientifically should have these components. One, it should be measurable. One, it should be observable. Second, it should be measurable. The language of measuring is mathematics. You don't have any observable from mathematics. What are you observing? It is not mathematics, it is physics, it is chemistry, it is biology you are observing. How can you calculate, how can you measure, for example, phenomenon in chemistry, in physics, in biology, and other hard sciences? It is called mathematics. Basically, mathematics is not science. It is the language of basically. But it is because every science is, it's had foundation of mathematics. It is called basic sciences, which is the most basic science, mathematics. But with this definition of science, mathematics is not science. Why? Because there is nothing observable in mathematics. Mathematics is the language of science, is the tools for calculating and measuring the science. But chemistry is science, basic science. With this definition, is sociology a science? Or is psychology a science? Why you say yes? How can you observe my mind? It should be observable and measurable.
You can observe behaviors.
But my behavior is not my mind. I can lie to you. I can lie to myself. Self-deception is the greatest mistake and greatest fault of human beings. Self-deception, I can lie to myself, even myself. Self-deception. How can you see my mind? How can I observe my? Yes, one of them is observing your behavior. From your behavior, I can predict what is the mind behind your behavior. The first one. Other things. How can you observe my hate? How can you observe my love? Other tools, except of looking straight, looking direct to my behavior. For example, you read a book and I ask you, how do you think about the mindset of the author? And you say, it's a very bitter thinking, very catastrophic thinking, very sad thinking. How can you have a good prediction of his or her mind? You cannot see his or her face, body language, other things. It is called content analysis. You have an analysis about the content of the, for example, book. So questionnaires, now very, very modern tools like MRI, for example, fMRI, functional MRI, magnetic resonance imaging system, MRI or fMRI, are the tools to look at your mind, sometimes to look at your brain. I don't want to enter this discussion that what is brain and what is mind and what are the differences between brain and mind. But in sociology, if sociology is a science, with this definition, everything can be observed and measured, can be scientific. Is sociology a science? You can look at observe the people behaviors, yes, as Gabriela said. But how can you measure their behavior? How can you measure, for example, a social anxiety during a presidential election process? In all countries, we have social anxiety for 2 or 3 days until from the starting the presidential election process until they're announcing their results, announcing the final votes counting. How can you measure? And after that, how can you measure, for example, job matching, personality types for your future organization? This is one of my professions, to find people matching for a certain job. It is called job matching. How can I do it? With interview, sometimes. With observation, sometimes. And more important than everything, I can do it by tests. Testing, for example, DISC, D-I-S-C, DISC is one of the greatest simple tests to find some people match for some exact position, organizational situation. It is job matching. Is it science? Yes. So we have two types of observation, direct observation and non-direct observation. Interview is one of the greatest tools for indirect, non-direct observation. For example, when you want to marry with other one, you cannot observe his or her mind, his or her intention, his or her personality. You cannot direct observe his or her personality. Why? Because personality is something of the matter of observation. It is your feelings, it's your attitudes, it's your history. But you can have some talking and looking at his or her body language and tonality, for example. These are your tools to examine the personality type. Examining the word order helps us understand that each of us is affected by global interdependence, a relationship in which the lives of all people are intertwined closely, and any one nation's problems are part of a large global problem. We have two words here, globalism and global village. What is global village? Have you heard it? It's a basic American phrase all on the world, global village. What is global village? Are we villagers? People in San Diego, people in Afghanistan, people in North Africa, from the same village? It's a joke. Do you know what is World Trade Center? World Trade Organization, WTO. Courtney, do you know what is World Trade Organization? Yeah, it is something like World Monetary Bank or World Monetary Fund. The organization to calculate and to organize the financial relationships between different countries to create a globalization, a global tendency to work together. Why? Because of accessing other people and other countries, other nations, resources and sources, natural resources, and to work together. Industrial countries without any natural resources, for example, England, for example, Japan, no natural resources at all. And some countries which are not so industrial, but with a lot of natural resources, for example, my country, Iran. The 25% of all natural resources all around the world is in my country. 25%. 25% of all natural resources is in Middle East, especially in my country. But the rate of industrialization is not, for example, like a country like America. Combination with this, it is globalization. It is global village. Resources and industry work together to make the world better. A global village. Okay, good. Gabriel, I want you to talk about global village the next session, 10 minutes to 15 minutes. It's good?
What do you mean?
You should talk about global village for me and Courtney about 10 minutes. What is global village? What is the origin of this word? Is it correct or not correct? How do you think yourself? Is it an empirical matter or not? It is only an idealistic. 10 minutes to 15 minutes. During this week.
I don't think I understand.
Bye.
What?
Can you do it?
I don't think I understand.
We have sometimes in the sessions some presentations for the students,
Mm-hmm.
some topics. For
Mm-hmm.
example, I say you, Gabriela, next session, next Thursday, Tuesday, come to the session and prepare, for example, 10 minutes matters talking about global village, the concept of global village. What is global village? What is the origin of global village? Is it only for American or North American? No. Study during this week in the internet, in the other resources about the origins and the concept and the meaning of global village.
Global village.
Yeah, global village.
Oh.
It's good for you. It's very good and very easy.
Mm-hmm.
Very easy. As the future leaders and the future managers, you should know some extra information. Sometimes you cannot find it. Also, the global village you can find it in your books, but sometimes there are some extra information out of your books or courses that very important for you. Very important. It has some competitive advantages when you want to go, for example, higher in some companies. It is not very formal information, non-formal, but very good. Why should we study sociology? A society is a large scale, large social grouping. How many groups, for example, we can have? Society, community, groups, teams, departments, and what is the major and basic crucial group in the society? It is called family. Family is the basic group of society. Before family, you are not social. You are single. You are individual. With coming together at first as, for example, wife and husband, and after that, with coming and having some children, shaping family. Family is the basic part of society. A society is a large social grouping that shares the some geographical territory, political authority, and cultural expectations. So we have three keywords here: geography, politics, and culture. When it is called society, with three shared things: one, shared geography; two, shared political system; and three, shared cultural expectation or cultural values. A society is a large social grouping, it's a type of group that shares the same geographical theory at the same country and the same territory, and is subject to same political authority and dominant cultural expectation. Sometimes in studying sociology, we have common sense knowledge, which is conventional, which is sometimes non-conventional. A lot of people doesn't accept the same values for other people. In that position, we are talking about minorities and majorities. Minorities, for example, Iranian minority or Jewish minority, or sometimes in, for example, Islamic countries, we have Christian minorities and majorities, the largest scale of people in a country or in a society. It is called common sense knowledge, the knowledge that a lot of people accept that knowledge, guides ordinary conduct in everyday life. However, many common sense notions are actually myths. A lot of common senses are not approved scientifically. Take care. It is very dangerous to accept the common sense without thinking. A lot of common sense knowledge is not approved scientifically. It is only myths. Why? Because your mother think like this. Why? Because your grandma think like this. Why? Because. Nobody has asked about the myths, about the common sense knowledge. Is it true or not true? One of the greatest beauty of science is disputing the absolute myths, not the absolute facts. Fact is something based on research. Fact is something based on study. But when there is no study, there is no research about something, it is not called fact. It is myths. It's your belief system. A myth is a popular but false notion that may be used either intentionally or unintentionally, unconsciously. In psychology, we say 95% of your daily behaviors is unconscious. 95%. Unconscious or subconscious. Only 5% of your daily behavior is consciously or sometimes intentionally. To perpetuate certain beliefs or theories, even in the light of conclusive evidence to contrary. For example, what are the thinking system? What are the thinking schools? What are the major part of your myths? When can you find the myths? In ancient history, mythology, in religion, in ethnical myths. For example, Iranian myths, Mexican myths, white American myths, African myths, these ethnical myths, ethnical, current, popular, but false beliefs. The major components of myths is in two words, two keywords. At first, myths are popular. It is common sense knowledge. Everybody accepts these myths. Not as a myth, as a common sense. They don't think that it is myths. They think it is common sense. Everybody think like this. But basically, it is false. When can you find something is myths or not? Is it true or not? Why we don't dispute, we don't question about the myths? Because a lot of myths are very popular, very, very popular. We don't have any courage to ask about the myths. You should have some protest against a lot of people's belief system. Yes. The major role, it is not the course of leadership, but the major role of leaders are questioning about the general present popular beliefs. Is it true or not? After that, you will be a leader. Thinking about the future in new ways. It is the major part of thinking as a leader. Thinking about the future in the new ways. Why new ways? Because you want to ask about the present popular beliefs. Are they true or not true? If they are not true, they are myths, popular but false. Evidence to contrary, conclusive evidence to contrary. Other reasons for studying sociology. Sociologists seek out the multiple causes and effects of social issues, different parts. Say me about the causes of social behaviors. How do you think about the causes of social behaviors? For example, Black Lives Matter. It's a social movement. But sometimes you can find some destructive behavior in people. Their right is right. Yes, they have the right of protest. But sometimes you see some destructive, for example, attacking other people and destroying, for example, civilization marks and other things. Black Lives Matter. That's good, social movement. But sometimes you see that, sorry, it is not social movement. Sometimes in some cities, some people are abusing this movement for their own benefits, not for the movement. What are the cause of, for example, social anger? A lot of protests will end to social anger. Why? How do you think about the causes of social anger? Now, in changing president from one president to other president, a lot of traders, a lot of buyers, a lot of sellers in the stock market have some types of fear and greed in trading. Sometimes have fear to end the trade and stop the trade. And sometimes they have greed to continue the trade. It's a fear of greed, game of fear of greed in stock market trading. How do you think about the social causes of these social behaviors? What are the social causes of anger, for example? Courtney, Gabriela, how do you think?
When they like social class, the differences in social class, like I'm trying to gather. Can you repeat the question that again, please?
What are the social causes of anger, social anger? Why some people are more angry in the society? They are so aggressive, not assertive. Assertiveness is so good, so positive. But aggressive is, the goal of aggression is harming self and others, and especially harming others. It's aggression. Or active aggression like violence, or passive aggression like gossip. Gossip is an aggression.
It could be because of social inequality, um, gender inequality. It could be, sorry, go ahead.
Injustice. Yeah, I'm just
Yeah.
agreeing. Yeah.
Racial, gender,
Mhm.
religious.
It could be wages. It could be the difference of pay, or even taxes.
Mhm. Economic parts, financial parts.
Mhm.
What is the role of education, social education? Can we educate and train people to protest without any serious, for example, aggression? Can we train? Is it trainable, educatable, or not? How do you think? Consider for the next 10 years, you will be a social women leader. Now we have a center in the University of California, Miramar University. We have a center for women empowerment. You go to the director of the center and says, I am volunteer to work with you for women empowerment. I'm the student of bachelor degree of the university. They said, welcome. Okay. Do you think that, for example, in women, can we train women to be less aggressive, but to be more effective? Oh no, you think they should be aggressive. If they are not aggressive, they cannot have any good right acquisition. They cannot gain their right to social rights.
Um,
Is it trainable? Can we train people to be calm but effective? For example, if anger is a social phenomenon.
Yes, I think you can. I think it is. It can be trained or taught, but I also think too, um, it's an individual's choice if they know what's right and wrong already by the point that they get to the protest, and
Mm-hmm,
they can, depending on how they choose to act aggressively or not. Like they
mm-hmm.
could have gone in with peaceful intentions and they know that
Uh-huh.
it's better to be peaceful, but still um, kind of monkey see, monkey do if they fall in, just depends on their personality. Are they going to fall in
Mm-hmm.
line and see what somebody else is doing? But I do think it could, like, peaceful protesting could be it could be promoted better.
Mm-hmm. And
but
how do you think, Gabriela?
I also think that it is better peaceful protesting, but I think we have to think about how people receive peaceful protest and aggressive protest. I think people choose aggressive because they can get more results from it.
Yeah.
So we can train people to protest peacefully, but we have to train people to take this protest in a better way than only the aggressive protest, you know? So
You
it
know that
has to.
anger management is a very popular workshop for psychologists, training other people how to manage their anger. And one of the greatest question is, thank you, sir. You have trained me to manage my anger. Yes. But how can I now gain my rights in society?
Mhm.
Anger is the easiest way, not the best way. Some people say that anger is the easiest way for me to gain my rights, social rights. And they ask me about, thank you, but I think I am not effective in my community. Because of that, sociology together with psychology can work together. Yes, if
Mhm.
if you are living in a gangster based area of city, sometimes, sorry, anger is the best part to do. At least for self protection, at least, not for attacking other people. Because of that, that's true. You say that yes, we can trade people for peaceful protests. Yes, but only with one option, one condition. We accept we accept peaceful protests with one condition. Because of peaceful protests, we should not lose our rights.
Mhm.
Between peaceful and aggressive, this is the problem of rights. If you can give us our rights, yes, why not? We are peaceful.
Of
If you
course.
cannot give us our rights, sometimes, not always. After protest, before protest, you will learn it in the master degree about the negotiation processes. You have a very
Mhm.
specific course in master degree, MBA, so-called conflict management and negotiate conflict resolution and negotiation processes. You
Mhm.
will learn in that course that yes, peaceful protest, there is a very, very important stage. It is negotiation and conflict resolution. But finally, anger is a solution, is the worst but a real solution. But it is the worst solution, not the best solution. And it is the last solution, not the first solution. For a lot of people, because it is the easiest do something to do for gaining their rights, at first they go to the last solution. Yes, we can trade people to do something very in a very good position. Yes, why not?
Mhm.
They analyze the impact of problem not only from the standpoint of the people directly involved, but also from the standpoint of the effects of such behavior on all people. For example, in sexual abuse, we have two parts, two types of psychologists work on sexual abuse. A lot of people, a lot of psychologists work on sexual victims. Some psychologists work on the sex offenders. We consume they are not criminal. They have some mental illness. So some part of the psychologists work on sex offenders, not only about the victims, about work on people that they are doing some sexual abuse. But we are psychologists. We don't consider them as, for example, we don't consider it as a crime. It is not related to me. It is related to court. I, as a therapist, as a life coach, work on mindset of someone who is offending sexual abuse. Okay? Because of that, it says not only from the standpoint of people directly involved, but also from the standpoint of effects of such behavior on all people. Sociology gives you a global worldview, a global perspective about everything in your life. So, knowing good, having a good knowledge, applicable knowledge on psychology and sociology will make another type, very smart and deep type of manager, businessman or woman, or leadership for the future. What fields we can use social science research in health and human services, in business, in communication, in academia, and in law. In health and human services, we can use social psychology and social sciences in counseling, education, medicine, nursing, and social working. And in business, you should note that advertising, labor relations, management, and marketing. And also in communication, broadcasting, public relations, and journalism. And in academic, anthropology. Do you know what's anthropology? It is a basic academic major who study about the human, knowledge about the origins of human. Very, very, very interesting field. Very interesting field. Anthropology is more interesting than psychology, than sociology. Anthropology is perfect. A good knowledge of anthropology will make somebody different from others, seriously different than others. Anthropology, economics, geography, history, information studies, media studies and communication, political science, psychology and sociology, and in law and criminal justice. These are the areas that we can use sociology as a basic academic research field in part of this part. Yes. Okay. What are the high income countries? Which country is the highest income country in the world?
USA.
China or USA?
I think USA.
How do you think, Gabriela?
China.
I have a question. If you think USA is the highest income country all around the world, why we can see a lot of homelessness in San Diego, for example, a lot of homeless in Los Angeles, in Orange County? Why? What's the problem? Yes, you are right. Some years this is about China, some years it is about USA, but totally it is USA, the highest income country in the world. As a thinker, as a citizen of USA, how do you think about the causalities, causes of, reasons of homelessness in your city? Why? This country has the highest income and highest,
Cost of living.
but
The highest cost of living.
at first, yes. It's a problem of cost, a problem
Healthcare.
of income. But if you go to Texas, for example, cost of living is not so high, but you see homeless again. Yes, California is very highest, highest cost of living. Yes, but you go to the other states, one of the lowest states for cost of living is Texas. You go to Texas, to Houston, you can see a lot of homeless people. Why? Is it about the economic system of America, so-called? What is the economic system of America? Capitalism. Capitalism is the economic system of America. And sometimes it is not called capitalism, it is called imperialism. Imperialism is dominancy, a minor part of people over all other people. It is imperialism, imperia. Sometimes it is not formal, it is informal. Imperialism is not an economic system, it is a mindset. It's a mind school, thinking school, thought school. We want to be superior over other people. Because of that, 95%, 90%, also not 90% will be homeless. It's a joke, we know. In America, if you work good, yes, it's a land of opportunities. But division of capital is not so fair, it's not so based on good methodology. And middle income countries, what part of the world do you think that they are in middle income countries?
Brazil.
Brazil, yeah, Southern America, totally Southern America. Not Asia, but in the center of Asia, between,
Was it parts of China?
but
Parts of China.
there are countries, Far East,
Country
not
China?
China. Yeah, in the Far East, in the Oriental countries, for example, Vietnam. Yes, they are middle income. And low income countries, the major part of low income countries are in Africa. That's a good question about Africa. Africa has the highest resources all around the world. All the natural resources are in Africa. Why they are so poor? Yes, for example, 100 years ago, they were exploited by other countries like England, like America, like France, but now they are dependent. They are independent countries. Why they are so poor? With a bad health education, with a bad health system, a higher mortality rate. Why? Think about this question. I don't want you to ask just now, but think about these questions. Remember, a lot of people have a higher education, PhD, master degree, bachelor. A lot of people have. But very, very few people are thinkers. They can create change in their society. Thinkers, not only having and studying for the
Well, for one, though, a lot of the Africa countries aren't like industrialized as the high income
yeah.
countries. Yeah.
One part is about the industrialization. Okay, have a 15 minutes break, and after that, in 6:50, I will be here again. Okay.
Okay.
Welcome back. Good. So over the next hour, we will talk about industrialization and some basic theories of sociology in Europe, at first in Europe, and after that in America. And after that, you have 15 minutes for week one quiz, which are all the questions are from the PowerPoints. PowerPoint, this chapter that we are studying, and the next chapter that you should study on yourself. And industrialization is the process by which societies are transferred from dependence on agriculture and handmade products to an emphasis on manufacturing and related industries. What is the time of industrialization? How many years ago? 100, 200, less than 100? How do you think? You are muted, Courtney.
A little under 200.
200.
Like 100.
Do you know what is the origin of industrialization? Which country?
England.
Yes.
Well,
Perfect. Yes. Cambridge and Oxford are one of the best and first greatest motivator for industrialization. And after that, also from the beginning, at the end of the 19th century and from the beginning of 20th century, America is the greatest motivator for industrialization. Which is the first word associated to your mind when you hear the word industrialization? The first word. Don't think about it.
factories.
Factors. Anybody about you, Gabriela? The first word when you hear the word industrialization.
Technology.
Technology. And for me, it's mass production. And it shows that each of us think in one part of industrialization. For example, we know that technology is not industry. Technology is after industry. But Gabriela is so up to date. If she thinks, yeah, yes, it is technology. I think about the cars, and you know what is the innovator people? What the first man who used the word mass production? The great
Henry Ford.
Henry Ford. Yeah, he used the word mass production for producing cars for all people in America. Henry Ford. Technology and factory. Wow. There is a very, very long distance between Courtney view and Gabriela view because industry begins with factory and ends with technology. And I'm at the middle part. It is mass production. What is the creator? What is the productive part to change industry, factory to industry, mass production, and technology also. And urbanization is the process by which an increasing proportion of population lives in the cities rather than in rural areas. It is urbanization. Do you like to live in rural areas or in larger cities?
Cities.
Which is your preference?
I prefer larger cities.
Large cities, yes. It shows that you are you are living in the, yes, it is number 8 in all America. San Diego is the 8th large city in America for population also, not about the squares. It is about the population. The number 1 is New York population, and second one is, you can check it. Second one is Los Angeles, and number 6 is San Jose, and number 8. Have you seen this site? It is good for you to know about this. Take minutes. Let me show you. It is Have you seen this site? It shows the population just a moment now. Can you see the changing the numbers?
Oh, wow.
Just now. And after that, it is US population. US population is per day or per week. But the numbers are changing all around the world. It's a very good site. Population clock.
It's insane.
Yeah. And there is some part here about the cities. For example, it shows you, you should work with these sites, not for your information, for your curiosity as the future study thinkers. It's a good prediction of the future. And it's a funny for your brain. For example, the United States population on January 4th is this part. And you see here the changes in age and sex in United States in different years and different ages, and also here. And I think in this site, yes. States and cities. Highest density, most population cities. You see that New York number 1. I'm here. The most population cities. San Diego is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. San Diego.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Huh?
I
It's
lived in
very
Chicago.
interesting that number 1 is New York.
Mm-hmm.
The second one is Los Angeles.
Yeah, and I lived in Chicago as well.
It is population per square in 2019. It is not about the population per square.
Does it show around the world, like the most popular cities?
Yeah. It is around the world. You can see state counties. For example, in counties, I think Orange County is the number 1, 2, 3. Orange County is the number 6 in counties in America. And all around the world, you can check the site. I see that one part is here for all around the world about the different numbers. Top 10 most populous countries. United States is number 3. China is number 1. India second. And United States number 3. Indonesia number 4. Interesting. Pakistan is number 5. I didn't know, because Pakistan is a neighbor to my country. And it is very interesting part about the birth and death. 1 birth every 9 seconds just now in the world. 1 birth every 9 seconds and 1 death every 10 seconds.
10 seconds.
Only because 1 second, the population growing up only for 1 second.
Yeah, I wonder if the deaths increased after Corona. Yeah. Probably.
And 1 intentional migrant every 47 seconds. And net gain of a person every 26. Look at this one. And another site I love to show you. It is about, depth and clock. I think it is this one. Yes. Can you see it? It is the death of United States every moment. Every moment.
God.
You see 27, 7, 5, 7, 6, 6, 9, 1, 2, 8, and 9, 9, 9. It is the death of United States just now at the moment. It's very good for you. As business as you say, this site is very good and you should work with it. You should find how to work. We educate people in MBA and DBA about this site, especially in DBA, how to work with this. Also, it's not my profession. I am psychologist, but as a psychologist connected with business, I love this site. It is US death clock, and that one is US population clock.
Population clock?
Yeah, it's population clock about the population around the world, especially in the United States. And the next one is US death clock, as you see here. I don't know. It is the. Is there anything here for different states of United States? But I know that debt per citizens. Welcome. Just now, $83,901. It's your debt per person per citizen. Everyone. This one. 83,901. Debt per citizen. Debt per taxpayer. It is wow. Courtney, you are bankrupt because you debt $222,000. Such a catastrophe. Also, it is the green parts are very hopeful. Saving per family is $28,843 per year. Also, it is funny, but I don't think that it is funny. It is very serious. The total U.S. national debt is serious. Okay, let's go to PowerPoint. I want to see you these sites. I think it is good for you to think globally about everything, because the next week Gabriela will talk about global village about it, and after that you can find why these sites are very important, very, very important in decision making. Even if you want to only have a very small store, you should know it because you are educated about the money, but educated about you are not a very simple worker going to open the store. Okay, we were talking about urbanization, and I went to find that what is the San Diego? It is the number 8 in density per square. Okay, welcome to sociology. This gentleman is the father of sociology. Very, very famous scientist, the French philosopher Auguste Comte. The word sociology is from this great brain, very great brain. From the Latin word socio, it is social, being with others, and the Greek logos. Logos is mean study of. Everywhere you see logos, logi, sociology, psychology, biology. Everywhere you see logos, it is logi, it is study of something. They're very famous. Founder of sociology. But what he has talked about, the societies contain social statics and social dynamics. Static in opposite of dynamic. Social statics, what the part are stable, they cannot change. Forces for social order and stability. And social dynamics, forces for conflict and change. Moving in a world of social people, social interactions is moving, is called change. Every time. You have a course, it is, yes, organizational development. We had this course last semester. No. With Courtney, we had SOC, we had ORG 4451, organizational theory and behavior. Yes. There's another course that I teach here. It is called organizational development. It is about the change management in development in organization. It's fantastic. I love that course. Very, very, very important and very useful. Because after you know how to develop your organization, you can find some direct, clear, transparent procedures for develop yourself, for change management in all aspects of your life. In that course, you know about the dynamics and the statics, what part you can change, what part it is very important to know that what part you cannot change. It is very important. A lot of people think that everything can change. It's a false belief. And it is a false belief that everything cannot change. It is also a false belief. We should know about the capability and disability in changing something in ourselves or in society or in an organization. So Auguste Comte, as a thinker, the basic thinker of sociology, modern sociology, said that we have two forces in societies: forces for moving and forces for stopping. Forces for moving forward and forces for stopping and not moving forward. It is social statics and social dynamics, forces for social order and stability, and forces for conflict and change. Positivism is the basic part of science. Positivism is the basic part of all sciences. Why? Positivism is the same thing that I talk about it, to be observable and measurable. They believe that the world can best be understood through scientific inquiry, methodological and social political issues. It is positivism. Why we use the word positive? Positive means something we can find in the presence, in the university, in the universe. It is called positivism. So positivism, they believe that the world can best be understood through scientific inquiry. It is one of the, not ancient, honestly, it is not ancient, one of the oldest words, oldest phrase in scientific method. All scientists said, yes, we are positivists. We think about the world in scientific manner, in scientific method, observation and measurement. And this word is coined by Auguste Comte. She's a great lady. She's very, very great lady. Translated Comte's work is Harriet Martineau. Harriet Martineau translated Comte's work because Comte was French, not American. But Harriet Martineau is American and wrote a book with title of Society in America. You can see the origin of social thinking in America. I love sociology of America because it is very practical, very, very practical. I love it. Also, psychology of America is very practical, very interventional. They want to have operation on everything. The best theories, best descriptive theories are from Europe. Descriptive theories are not from America, they are from Europe. For example, in developmental psychology, the best theorists are European people, not American people. But in explanation theory and in action theories, the best theories are from American people, are from American thinker. This lady translated the Kant's work from French language at first to American, and after that wrote a very good book, very deep book about the society in America in that time. It is about the 19th century. She examined religion, politics, child rearing, slavery, and immigration, paying special attention to social distinctions based on class, race, and gender. Please note that what time we are talking about. We are talking about near 200 years ago. 200 years ago. Near 200 years ago. In that time, in that society, now, just now, in the beginning of 21st century, I honestly believe we have some informal discrimination or gender-based discrimination, even in America. Even in America, as the symbol of freedom and liberty for women, even in America, we have some types of gender-based discrimination. About 200 years ago, a woman come and talk about the race, gender, class, sociology. It's unbelievable, unbelievable. Explore the status of women, children, and sufferers, persons who are considered to be criminal, mentally ill, handicapped, poor, or alcoholic. A combination of kind humanism and kind altruism with science. We can see in Harriet Martineau. And advocate racial and gender equality. committed to creating a science of society that we grounded in empirical observations and widely accessible people. It is very important. This word is also very important word, important phrase in scientific method, empirical. Everything in scientific method should be empirical. You should have a good support of the evidence. The next thinker is Herbert Spencer. He's a British. An evolutionary perspective on social order and social change. What do you know about the evolutionary theory? Evolutionary theory by Darwin. Gabriel, do you know anything about the evolution or evolutionary theory? Have you heard it?
Evolutionary?
Evolutionary theory or evolution theory
Mm-hmm.
by Charles Darwin. Have you heard about it?
Yeah.
What is it?
Um, it's been a while, but I heard about it.
How do you think? Not about the scientific concepts. How do you think about the evolution? Do you think we are the sons and daughters of chimpanzees, monkeys, or not?
We are the evolution of
Am
that. Yeah.
I a talkative animal?
Yeah, we are.
Thank you. And Courtney, how do you think? Am I an animal with moving moving the head instead of answering yes or no?
And yes, and
None of animals do such things. If you ask a lion, I think the lion says, yes, sir.
when I
Okay.
think of Charles Darwin, I think of is in the book too, of the survival of the fittest.
Yeah.
The socially and physically the most inept are the ones that succeed, or the greatest chance of success.
Yeah. It says survival of fittest, not survival of the best. Not survival of the best. Survival of the fittest. All the life of human, or the survival of human being is related about the fitting room. Go to fitting room and see which dresses are fitted to you. Life is something like fitting room. So it says survival of fittest, not survival of best. Perfect. It's about biology. There are three persons at the end of the 19th centuries, three thinkers at the end of the 19th century, that everything in philosophy, in psychology, in subjects related to human beings has come in 20 centuries. Everything is for them or against them. Everything. One is Karl Marx. Second, Charles Darwin. Third, Sigmund Freud. Karl Marx for economy, Charles Darwin for biology, and Sigmund Freud for human mind. There's a very, very plausible book with the title of Passion of Mind. It is the not autobiography, it is the biography based story. It is a novel, but based on the real life of Sigmund Freud. This is a very fantastic book, Passion of Mind. The author of that book has written several books about the biography of very famous people. One book about the Vincent van Gogh. Vincent van Gogh is the European painter. It is Passion of Life. One book about the Michelangelo, and one book about Charles Darwin, and one book about the Freud. And the Freud is Passion of Mind. The author is, let me check it. The author is, so the name, the family name is Stone. I forgot the name of the author. The family name of the author is Stone. Irving Stone. Irving Stone is the name of the author, The Passion of Mind. If you want to read some fantastic books about the biography of most influential people during the last 200 or 300 years ago, from since to 3 or 200 years ago, read the books of Irving Stone, Passion of Mind, Passion of Life, a book about the, I think he has a book also about Beethoven. I am not sure about it. So, British sociologist Herbert Spencer says combination of Charles Darwin theory of evolution of biology and sociology. It is called social Darwinism. Social Darwinism, what is that? What does it mean? An evolutionary perspective on social order and social change. Social order and social change. Spencer theory of general evolution. At first, it was called general evolution. Society, like a biological organism, has various interdependent parts, such as the family, the economy, and the government, that work to ensure the stability of survival of the entire society. Just now, today, I had an Insta live in Persian language, Farsi language, about the evolutionary psychology of love. What does it mean? Evolutionary psychology says because of evolution, every trait you have, it is good for your survival. Every trait you have. Evolution says survival of fittest, not survival of best. So, for example, if we have mind, it helps us to survive. If you can laugh, it helps to survive. Evolutionary psychology looks for what is the evolutionary function, what is the coping strategy, for example, of having mind as a human being. And today, Insta Live was about the evolutionary, the survival value of love in human being. And after that, we talked about in Farsi language. So, social Darwinism is the belief that those species of animal best adapted, best fit to the environment survive and prosper. The key word is best adapted, fittest, not best. Herbert and Spencer believe that society is developed through a process of struggle and fitness, struggle for existence and fitness for survival, which referred to as the survival of the fittest. Also, this word, this phrase is not from Herbert Spencer, it is from Charles Darwin, survival of the fittest. But in society, Herbert Spencer used the vocabulary used by Charles Darwin in sociology, and he said society is developed through a process of struggle and fitness, struggle for existence and fitness for survival. Because this phrase is often attributed to Charles Darwin, Spencer's view of society is known as social Darwinism. The belief that those species of animal best adapted to the environment will survive and prosper. The next one. One of the most curious and one of the deepest human being in all history of humanity is Emil Durkheim. One of the most curious brains in all history of humanity. And one of the deepest brain in all history of humanity is Emil Durkheim. Fantastic. Emil Durkheim has a book completely about the sociology of suicide. Completely. And if she thinks, in opposition with me, in opposition with you also, that suicide, yes, it is an individual action, but it is a social process. He sees suicidal attempt as a social process. He's French. Wrote Rules of Sociological Methods, the first one who defined uh, scientific method for sociology. The idea that societies are built on social facts, which are patterns way of acting, thinking, feeling that exist outside any individual but exert social control over each person. Because of that, we can see suicidal attempt as a social process. Why? Because the causes are outside ourselves, but push ourselves as an individual. Anomy is the word that Emil Durkheim used, is a condition in which social control becomes inefficient as a result of loss of shared values and of a sense of purpose in society. What other words can you use instead of anomy? When the society lose its shared values in shared process, what is the ending part of anomy? From evolution to revolution. Revolution is the ending part, the ending result of anomy. It is splitting the society to different parts. Why? They lose their shared meaning. It's like a family. When in family members they use their shared meaning and shared goals. Sometimes it is divorce, sometimes it is called separation, sometimes it is called, for example, lack of loyalty and infidelity and other parts. It is something like a family as a very small scale of a large society. Wow. One of the three persons I interested you: Karl Marx, Charles Darwin, and Sigmund Freud. Also, we will not talk about Charles Darwin and Sigmund Freud because it is the course of sociology. But Karl Marx, this great man is such great that we have a very, very, very famous word, so-called Marxism. Marxism, have you heard Marxism? Gabriela, have you heard Marxism? They say Marxism and socialism. Have you said?
I've heard of it, but I don't remember very well.
Yeah. It is Marxism, communism or communism, and socialism, different
Mhm.
parts. Also, they are different, but it originates from Marxism. The first person that talk about economy as a history of sociology, not as a financial matter, economy. Economy as a force for activating behaviors, not only for the financial needs. Economy as a social process, as a social force. Karl Marx. As a psychologist, I love to look at the people's skulls. And Marx's skull is fantastic. So straight in the frontal part. This is the part of your brain which is the major part of your thinking. This frontal and prefrontal, this part. It is the major part of human, the focus, attention, analysis, deep thinking, all related to this part. And you can see the frontal part of Marx's skull. Wow. German economist and philosopher. They call economic philosophers, the philosophers who think about the roots and the causes and the process of economical behaviors or economical process. History, this is the theory of Karl Marx. History is a continuous clash between conflicting ideas and forces. Conflict is a key word in the theory of Karl Marx. He believed that conflict, especially class conflict, is necessary in order to produce social change and a better society. It's necessary. Class conflict is always necessary. It is the provocating force, it is the motivating force for creating the change in the society. The most important changes are economic. Class conflict, bourgeoisie versus proletariat. Proletariat is the struggle between the capitalist class and the working class. And after that, based upon his theory and his books, we have a very, very, very huge, the greatest revolution in the history of humankind, at least for the last 1,000 years. It is Russian evolutionary in 1917, at the end of the World War One, the First World War, by Lenin. It is based upon the Marxist theory about the conflict between working class and bourgeois, the capitalist class, the aristocrat class. The struggle between the capitalist class and the working class is necessary for creating change in the society. The capitalist class or bourgeoisie is those who own and control the means of production, even just now. The tools, land, factories, and money for investment that from the economic basis of a society. Just now you can see it. In the capitalistic society of America, you can see it. It's called social investment. Social investment is mean how much a government has invested on training the social proper behaviors in a society. In COVID-19, you saw that social investment in America is so poor, very, very poor. Why? Because everybody think about his or her own family or his or her, for example, society and community, not about the other people. They go to the superstores, everything was empty and oh. Because of that, it is called social investment. When you are a sociologist thinker, you think about these problems. That yes, in something like COVID-19, the healthcare system say, please stay at home. But you go to the beach and you say, it's not important to die or live. I want to choose for example, living with a peaceful death at the beach because of COVID-19. You don't think about other people at all. It is social investment. Sociologists think about these processes. What has happened in this society, for example, in the US. The working class or proletariat is those who must sell their labor because they have no other means to earn a livelihood. Social class and capitalist class. And after that, in the middle of the 20th century, the social class word changed to the word popular. What is the complete name of the China? It is not Republic of China. It is Popular Republic of China. PRC. Popular Republic of China. Why popular? Because the people, ordinary people, are the symbol of working class in this theory by Karl Marx. Because of this theory, after that, every country, every government wants to say, yes, we govern our country based upon for example, Marxism. We are popular. And we are Popular Republic of, for example, of China. Also, there are a lot of changing in the main theory just now. It is not at the same and the first theory, but the major concept The conceptual framework is the same. Conflict between bourgeoisies and proletariat, between the capitalist class and working class. And also another word that is very famous in sociology and in psychology, alienation. Alienation, it is proletariat's feeling of powerlessness and estrangement from other people and from themselves because the capitalist class controls and exploits the masses of struggling workers by paying less than the value of their labor. It is called alienation. And sometimes we have some positive alienation. Um, if you go to another country for living and say, wow, such a country it is, I love it, you are alienated in that time. You don't pay attention enough to your origins of your country, origins of your family. You are alienated, you are a stranger from your past. It is alienation. Believe society should be changed by Karl Marx, and economics was the central force for change. And Max Weber, two final sociologists, German social scientists, sociology should be value free. After Max Weber, at first you should know the word labor division or work division is coined by Max Weber. He's the founder of this word, labor division or work division. Divided works between different people based upon their expert, based upon their body and other factors. Sociological research should be conducted scientifically, excluding the research of personal values and economic interests. It is very important in all approaches of scientific methods. Was concerned with large scale organization, specialized division of labor or labor division. And large scale organization or bureaucracies were becoming increasingly oriented toward routine administration and a specialized division of labor, which he believed were destructive to human vitality and freedom. One of the greatest conflict between the governments and the factories and industry and also with academics is about the human freedom. What is the limited parts? What is the limited line of human freedom? Where is the limited line of chaos, anarchism, and oppositional activities against a government? Is it the matter of human freedom? Or no, it is not about the human freedom. Human freedom is an individual part, an individual component. When you want to go against and protest against and battle against a government, it is not about the human freedom. In such countries like America, they said, yes, you have the right of process, only as one person. Why not? If you don't destroy anything, if you don't break anything, if you don't have any destructive behavior, yes, it is your right to have protest, even popular protest or even individual protest. In some countries, especially for example in Middle East, they said no, you don't have the right to protest everywhere every time. You should have some permission from government. And after that, also in South America, they ask people that, do you have any permission from government to protest against government? Are you kidding? What government give you the permission to protest against him itself? No government. So it is not liberal countries. It is not like America. If you want to say two words about America all around the world, two words, the icons of American style, especially in California, it is one, freedom, two, opportunity, creativity. not justice. Justice is not the very, very famous. For example, in Denmark, in Sweden, in Finland, and in Norway, yes, in those countries, North European countries, justice is very, very, very important and very popular. But freedom here, especially in California, I think only Deutschland has a freedom like California. Not even in America, in other parts of the world. Only Deutschland in Europe has some freedom like California. Other parts of America doesn't have a freedom like California. If you go, for example, to Utah, you don't have such thing like here because we're religious, conceptual, and it's very good, not bad. Which is the society. We are not talking. We are not judging society. We are talking about the feature and components. So, according to Max Weber, rational bureaucracy rather than classic struggle is the most significant factor in determining the social relations between people in industrial societies. From this view, bureaucratic domination can be used to maintain powerful capitalist interests in society. And the last PowerPoint, Weber's work on bureaucracy has had a hard, far-reaching impact until now, specialized division of labor. Max Weber provided important insights on the process of rationalization, bureaucracy, religion, and many other topics. So, uh, I prefer to talk a lot about the small and little and small numbers of topics, but talking and thinking deeper instead of going, for example, for 2 chapters, 3 chapters very fast and student doesn't know. If you want to do it, you can study the chapters in your home. Not necessary to have an instructor. Okay, you have 15 minutes now time for answering the quiz one. University says you should do it on the class because you are a hybrid. It is not my emphasis. But now I am here until the next 15 minutes. If you had any question, yes. And go to the quiz week 1 and start the quiz.